Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swiz, here as regularly on a Monday night, here to answer your questions, usually to talk about my team, but why talk about that? Because my team's rubbish. But let's get on somebody who actually has a really good team at the moment. Connor, welcome to the show.
G'day, Swiz. Thanks for having me, mate.
No problems, mate. As I said, you are flying way better than me. Even with, I think, 2,502 this week, you may have slipped back a spot, but still third overall. Mate, fantastic season so far. You must be pretty wrapped.
Yeah, look, pretty stoked, to be honest. Did not think I would come this far, honestly, but no, going well. Loving it.
How long have you been playing Supercoach, mate?
Honestly, this is my third year. So the last 2 years, I haven't even made finals in my own league. So it's just been a bit of a jump, bit of a change this year, but no, we're flying and it's going well this year. So
I've found that with like people I've talked to, it's kind of that, yeah, you get into it after a couple of years and you take a few risks with a few starting selections and it starts paying off. And I think it's sort of that footy knowledge. So obviously you've followed footy, I'd say most of your life, a Saints man. And played down there. You're a Tassie boy, so I played a bit of footy yourself through, and unfortunately, we're talking off air about not playing anymore just due to injuries. But I gather you've got a pretty good grip of the just footy in general.
Yeah, I'd say I probably watched just about every game every weekend. love footy, massive footy fan. Yeah, pretty obsessed, honestly. So I sort of know who to go for, and yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely does help having that knowledge. It's, but then I've seen it before with some people just literally no knowledge and start picking some players, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I'm actually doing well at this, and then they start doing more research and it all goes downhill. But yeah, hopefully, unlike Victor, who came on the show early in the season, which we've seen to given him a bit of the black cloud over his team. Hopefully, mate, you keep going forward and forward with how you're going. I'll get your team up in a second, but we'll talk about the start, mate. Obviously, you must have taken a few risks. You want to just sort of run through a couple of those starting selections that you had? I feel like you might have gone a little bit more cheaper in the midfield, but yeah, do you want to run us through that?
Yeah, so, sort of I decided to go, yeah, like you said, like more of the bargain route. So obviously Took and Steele started off pretty cheap this year. And then didn't go for those big ticket names like your Oliver, who started off pretty poorly. And yeah, like Elliot Yeo, he come back, obviously had a fantastic season until he got injured just recently. And yeah, just really just got the rookies right, traded at the right times. I sort of think I actually got a couple wrong as well. Like I started with, like James Jordan, who didn't really fire like we all thought he would. And then Fisher early on didn't really do much, but he's obviously going really well now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
how many kind of states did you start with, or were you trying to avoid them? Were you on Bonner or any of those sort of guys?
No. Tried to just stick to sort of what we know, and like anyone, you sort of get a bit sucked into the preseason. I reckon I changed my team 1,000 times before the actual bounce of round one, but yeah, no, I sort of went back to the ones that we all sort of know, and those absolute like pigs off half back, and the ones that get up into the middle and stuff. So yeah.
What was your position playing too, mate? It's is there like a common theme there? The pig at halfback, or
Oh, no, definitely not. I'm short and stumpy. I was more of a forward pocket myself. So yeah, no, I didn't have much run in me.
I love how modest you are there, because it's always the case when we get people on. It's a few ex teammates or whatever want to give shit. Go, oh please, mate, you weren't that good. But no, I like how you've downplayed that. So you can't cop it. Because we've obviously had the 40 trades this year. Firstly, where are you with like trades and boost? Have you gone a bit hard early, or do you still have enough in the bank?
I've gone pretty hard early. Like I don't have any boost left. And I'm down to, well, as it stands before this next round, 17 trades left.
Same here.
But that's with my only rookies on the ground are Wilson and Garcia. So
yeah, I'm gonna get this up now. Let's I'll double check to see if I can do this. There it is for people playing at home. And if you are at home, you can also go into your leagues, into just the rankings. Actually, go to the rankings, just go to overall and see number 3. It's as simple as that. And you'll see Connor there. So, team, like, yeah, as you said, team's looking pretty good. The back line, I think that's like doing well because you're avoiding the carnage there. I guess you loopholed closely and didn't have to take his score this week.
Yeah, no, I was fine with the backs this week. I didn't have to touch closely. Yeah, so just, I guess looking at the team, sort of like this week, the premiums really didn't pay off. And I still managed to score the 2,500. But as you can see, I've probably got 5 blokes that were in the 90s but didn't quite crack over. And it's going pretty well. Obviously, like I said, got the 2 rookies on ground. Team's pretty much fully upgraded. We just got to try and get through these buys as unscathed as possible, I think.
Yeah, and it does. Like, the more I look through it, having Cherry there, who's just been flying in the ruck, the fact you've still got Sweet, who should hopefully come back this week. I know I've got some questions about that, and continue to make cash. Your whole midfield's graded. Horn Francis is, that decision's probably even more the old kissed on the old thing because with Wines being out, continues to do well. And you've still got guys like Closeley that you can obviously trade out. You've brought in Rev. Jones is a bit disappointing, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And Darcy Wilson there is pretty well maxed out in cash, but 416 to pretty well bring in any forward that you choose to. So it's a fantastic side, mate.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty spewing this week, actually. I just got Rankin in this week, and he's obviously gone down with that hammy, but also brought Houston in as well this week. So that one was a massive win for me as well. So,
and you already had Zorko, so that was obviously a massive plus because he's been playing. Did you start with him or did you bring him in early?
I brought him in pretty early, and that was honestly a tip from my cousin, to be fair. He's a Brisbane man, and like with how sparse the forwards are this year, is just trying to find someone to get in there. I think, like I said to you beforehand, James Jordan and like Fisher and Fife, like they're kind of just going early days, so I had to try and find like somewhere to break through there. And I got Zorko in, and he has been absolutely flying this year. So I
might have to replace my fellow co-host Ben with your cousin because the advice he's given me about Zorko's been terrible. So still didn't even bring him in this week, and neither did I. So I think we might need to upgrade Benny Boy there. He doesn't show up half the time anyway. So that's looking, as you said, really solid. Just a shame about Rankin. I gave JP, a former winner, the advice on Saturday. We were playing a game of cricket, and he asked me who to trade in, and he was debating between LDU and Rankin. And unfortunately, I told him Rankin, which looked good at the till 2 minutes left in the game.
He was electric on the weekend.
And then LDU absolutely dominated the Sunday match. I was there to watch it firsthand, and it's the best game he's played all season. So to my good mate JP, I apologise, mate, greatly for that advice. And mate, to him, I'm like, I don't know why you're taking advice from me. He's won it before and I haven't. So it's it was interesting that he asked for my advice, but but overall, it's pretty good. And you're trying to obviously set yourself at the bye rounds. What are you kind of thinking this week with trades? Have you kind of got an idea which way you're going to go?
Well, like if I wasn't as highly like up in the rankings as I was, I'd probably just hold Rankin. Like if I was just worried about my own competition. But like he's obviously got to go. So I think I'm actually thinking of going back to Fish since he's obviously taken over that Sheasel role across half back there with Sheasel going into the middle. And I had a look today, in his last 3 games, he's got 30 touches. And I know I've seen a few people talking about whether Colby coming back might affect that. But he's got 30 touches in a game with Colby before. I think he's pretty set in that position. They're all defensive half possessions as well. So I think I'll go Fish for Rankin, so that'll get a little bit of money. And then I was actually, I don't know whether I'll leave it there or I was thinking of even going Zeri to a big row just to get that real quality ruck in there, so I could save say Wilson and Garcia for those buy rounds. So when they come round, trade that, like upgrade Wilson and do whatever I need to with Garcia. So I'm really just trying to set up for the buy rounds now.
Yep. Would you consider a forward for Wilson, or you're probably more set on Marshall? And is there any forward that's sort of standing out for you that you'd want to get in outside of Fisher?
But when I got Rankin, it was really, I was actually tossing up between Rankin and Moore, because Moore had just had 3 weeks just about going back-to-back 130s. And then he had that quiet week down in Tas. Anyway, I ended up going with Rankin, and then so at that point, I felt like he was the next best forward, but then he kind of had another quiet week, the one just gone. Sort of looking at Luke Jackson, he's hit and miss. He's had 2 big games where he scored 150 plus, but if you actually look at it, he hasn't scored over a ton any other round, I'm pretty sure. And other than that, there's not a lot of option there. Go back to Reed, but then he has his buy in the same round as a lot of my other players, so just got to try and figure out what works.
Yeah, no, for sure. The only one I'd kind of suggest, I know a couple of people put this in the questions, and we'll get to some of these questions soon. I think Parrish is now missing 3 to 4. So maybe Caldwell could be a shout there, because he'll come in as the number 2 CBA person at Essendon, and he's actually been having a decent year.
For sure.
Either way, so that's one, because I know people have been asking about that now with the injury. Why? Obviously, we've got yours there, but because I know people do like to tune in and have a little bit of look at what I'm doing, which is probably not even worth looking at the moment. I was going to try to get mine up, and of course, do you think mine wants to get up now? Absolutely not, but I'll try to do that in a moment. In regards to, actually, I might even just go to a couple of questions and stuff anyway, and we'll go into that. But I was going to actually ask you buy rounds, because you do look pretty set up there. How much thought have you put in coming into this, and are you trying to set yourself up for any of those round 13, 14 guys by not kind of trading, like maybe trading this week and not as much next week, and setting yourself up there? Or would you still recommend bringing in sort of a guy that might be around 12, even though, obviously they're going to miss the following week?
I've had a lot of thought of this over the last couple of weeks, and I think I'm going to try and, so if I wanted to get a bloke in, say he's got a buy, like one of the early rounds, I'd probably prefer to just get him in after. That being said, I think really what I've tried to do is try and, because obviously you have the 4 that won't play, so it's your best 18. So try and have as little number of players possible each round missing, I guess. So you sort of average around. So I know with that round, is it, I think 13 where it's just the 2 teams.
13 was just the 2 teams, yep.
So
Freo and Port Adelaide.
So I've just set it up, so I've just got 2 Freo players and 2 Port Adelaide players for that one. And then say, for example, then after that round, maybe Wilson to Luke Jackson is an option as that buys pass now and whatnot. So, it's tricky. Like, I don't, you can set yourself up as best you can for it, but until it sort of comes around, you don't really know how it's going to go, I guess.
Exactly. All right, I've managed to get what's going on with my poor side at the moment. But 23.85 for those playing at home. I'm up to 11,000, 500 points off the top 1,000. So if I'm going to do it 6 out of 7 years or whatever it is, it's going to be a long road. The problem with me is because I didn't bring in Zorko, and if I'd held, I worked it out today. If I'd held Zorko and Marshall, and I went and didn't go Merritt, I would have been 200 points off the top. So it's a little bit frustrating, because I was, it could have very easily been back in contention with everybody else. But that's the way it goes. With Marshall having those 2 poor games, I thought he just had to go at the time. So yeah, frustrating, but that's the way it goes. But yeah, we'll hopefully I'll pick up somebody at some point. And the way I usually do it, and for whatever reason, my team doesn't want to come up and play friendly with us, but I'll see if I can get it up at some point, because a few people like to follow what's going on. And of course, it's not going to play ball. That's annoying. All right, I'll get into the questions and I'll see if I can get that up in a second. All right, okay. And I think this is a pretty easy one. First off, Carter, hold Rankin. Now, you already saying you're going to trade him. If you were in the position where you were just playing for leagues and you weren't playing for overall, would you recommend maybe holding Rankin in that case?
Did see today that he's probably going to be out for 3. That takes him, and then I think it's actually will end up being close to 4, because I think that takes him almost up to his bye.
So I think it's the week before his bye. He could be due back. So that's the thing. Do they risk him there, or do they just end up giving him 5 weeks? If it becomes 5 weeks, like it's a trade. So I'm even leaning, even if it's his leagues, you're probably, at this sort of stage, I think you've just got to trade him. It's just really frustrating if you brought him in. So I do think you've got to go there, Carter, and unfortunately move him on. And Carter's also said best rookies this week. I was sort of looking through a couple before. He's already got Sutherland. What do you think of Richards? Or have you looked at this free leg from the Bulldogs? Do any of those guys sort of interest you?
I am tending to stay as far away from the Bulldogs as possible, because I've got no idea what's going on over there with Bevo and just selection. Doesn't matter how well you're going, you could be on the chopping block out that way. But I think job security wise, Sullivan and I don't know, I think they get one more back and he's probably close to gone. And Richard seems to be going pretty well. I think he had 12 touches and a goal on the weekend, so he might be something for you. But I've gone with Reveal. I know
same here.
But I think he's had very low time on ground and he's scoring well. And with the injuries at Brisbane, I think he's only going to keep playing and keep scoring pretty well. So that'd be my pick, I'd say.
Yeah, even at the more expensive price. Or you could technically go early on Ethan Phillips if you think that's the way the Hawks are going to go. And they were pretty keen on him early in the season. We were talking about him pre-season, but the injury and getting time back in there. So I'd probably prefer to hold a week. But the 102k defender might come in handy for us. Reed he's back. Could be back as early as this week against the Tigers. He dominated the VFL on the weekend. So for us people, and actually I should be able to get my side up now, because like a lot of us, we've held him this long. So it'd be nice to have that guy come on and be a bit of a cash cow for us for the end of the season. So that's how I'm going at the moment. Unfortunately for me, I'm not as upgraded as, because I've had to side swap a few people, including like Libba was just the worst pod possible. But the back line's I'm pretty happy with the back line. I'm full there, and I've got McKercher sitting there at D7, who I'm hoping to become kind of a swingman. The forward line, it is what it is. I'm not too fussed at the moment. Jackson's also in the ruck, so I probably do need to look at a ruckman at some point. And my midfield, it needs 3 players, but Tommy Powell next week has to buy, so I'm going to put him to Rowell. Actually, I can do 2 up, 1 down next week. So it's most likely going to be Powell and Closeley to become Oliver and Rowley. So that'll give me 7 midfielders, 6 defenders, plus McKercher, and it's just really worrying about this dog's breakfast of a forward line. So if I can bring in a ruck, hopefully Timmy English can continue to get cheaper, and English can come as my R2. Jackson just goes forward, and so that's kind of the plan through the buys. It's a little bit annoying because obviously the top teams like yourself, I'm a couple premiums down, but I feel like I'll manage to catch that up while we've got the 3 trades throughout the buy period. So there is a plan for those playing at home. But I'm definitely the defender this week in McGovern. It's been flying. I could probably go Clary this week either, but I've got to bring a defender. So what I'm thinking is at the moment I've got McGovern sitting in there, but it could be Oliver. I'm going to wait and see because the who's playing the Freo's playing Friday night, so I get to have a look at Hayden Young, and then also Tommy Stewart. So they both play before McGovern and Oliver plays. So I can kind of see, and even Holmes, so I can kind of see how they go, and then make a decision on that depending on how they perform. Because if Hayden Young looks like he's back and flying, I can potentially go back there. If he has a poor game, when I'm probably leaning towards bringing McGovern in this week. So that's where I'm sitting for those people sitting at home, and hopefully a little bit closer to that top sort of 5,000 and make my team a little bit more relevant again. But it'll come. I'm sure it'll come. It's got to come good at some point. All right, Tony. Hey, mate, if Sweet is not named, thoughts on Sweet to Visitani pocketing 100K plus a break even of -86? I've got a thought on this, but I'll let you go, mate.
Well, I actually asked this question to my other cousin. So we've got a group chat. We're all footy mad.
Yep.
And he's a Port Adelaide man, and he said that is it Lycett at Port Adelaide?
He was, wasn't he? He's not anymore.
Who's
Soldo's the ruck.
Soldo. You reckon Soldo's not too far off? So, and then also, I think, is it Vicinelli got pretty beat up on the weekend. So, I'm not too sure on that one.
I think if they didn't lose Wines early, he would have got subbed off, and they would have played, I think, it's Finlayson and Dixon through the ruck. He was getting belted, and he's actually now this week playing. I know it's only North Melbourne, but it's Cherry. Cherry's one of the better rucks in the competition. So I think they're going to bring Sweet back for that. So I'd wait and see, Tony, if teams are named, but I wouldn't be wanting to really have Visitani in there because I think it's only going to be a 1 week price rise. I'm not a big fan of that. But something that we really do want to talk about, Ricky, is Fish a legit option or just getting the uptip scoring due to Colby? So you're pretty keen on looking at Fish this week?
Yeah, so like I said before, I think Fish is a pretty good option. Like he's had the 30 touches for the last 3 weeks. And one of those weeks Colby was playing. So, with Sheasel moving into the middle, it looks like he's securing that roll off half back there, getting a lot of probably junk posies down the back there. I like him. I think he's definitely an option.
Yeah, so that's the one I went instead of Zorko this week. And a little bit because I was going to be at the game. Probably annoyed that I didn't get Zorko in the end, but it did kind of save me money to set up a couple of trades. But Fish, to tell you what, talk about these half-backs and back pockets that will sprint to get a cheap ball or get a kick out, and that's exactly what Fish was doing. Anytime Essendon looked like, anytime he looked like they were going to miss a goal, Fish was making sure he was getting that kick out. And if he wasn't getting the kick out, there was actually one play because I was near the Essendon interchange bench, so I was pretty close to ground level, and it was probably between the 50 and the wing. And Fish was on outside, and the ball was on the other half-back side. And Fish could have not called for that ball any harder if he tried. And of course, North went to go wing and then switched over and then found Fish. And it was just like, mate, if you're going to call that hard and they're actually going to find you, how can you not have this guy on the team? It's just his body. It's unreal. And I think Colby's not a problem. Colby McKercher. He'll have this week off. He'll have the bye, and then he'll be back after that. But I don't think it's going to affect, as you said, Sheasel's playing midfield. Sheasel look good in the midfield. They were trying to find him at every link, and they probably missed him a couple of times too. Like the kid's an absolute jet, so don't be worried about that. One of the best names on YouTube. I don't really like Cheese. He's saying, it's his 3rd year as well. But yeah, so mate, it could come, mate. Maybe it's a 4th year for you, buddy. It's all right, Michael. With Darcy Jones now out for 6 to 8 weeks, should we just downgrade him? And it's really annoying for those people who obviously got him in and got only 8 from him, rather than trade Wilson, who's a warm body for the buy. So Wilson's break even. You are correct. It is up there, but he is playing well and scoring well, so you can definitely hold him. What would you think about doing with Darcy Jones? Because obviously he hasn't made a lot of cash. Would you just try to hold him as maybe a loophole player, or should we try to get him to a warm body?
I'd probably just hold him for now, see how the buys are going, and then yeah, you sort of got to cut your losses with some people, and unfortunately, if he's out for 6 to 8, there's no point having him sit there not generating any cash. So you probably are better off getting a Joe Richards in, or like we said before, like a Revel or whatnot. But also with Wilson, I think he's projected to go down or up 6K. So yeah, he's an easy hold for now.
Yeah. It's not I'm willing to do Wilson if the trade's if I need to do that trade, which at the moment that's what I was playing around with in my team. That's why he's not sitting there. But he can be an easy hold, as somebody said. It's what the Saints got the last buy. So yeah, you could definitely hold him. It's not going to get kicked out of the team. The Saints need his run. They are in a bit of trouble. Well, what are your thoughts on the old Saints this year, mate?
Oh, mate, I don't know. I think we sort of bit off more than we can chew. On paper, the list is great. Well, I personally think we've got good young talent coming through. We just don't have that star power at the top. I just don't think you can be a contending team when Jack Steele's your best player. Yeah, they're frustrating. I went and watched them at UTAS the other week, and they're a hard watch.
Yeah, it's frustrating that some of that game plan Ross Lyon can implement sometimes. You got to feel for the forwards and Max King with the way that ball might get delivered. I wouldn't want to be a forward in the Saints team.
Yeah, nah.
All right, we'll go Harvey. What's a good forward premium apart from Heaney, Zorko, and Flanders? And this is the ultimate question.
I think that's about it. I don't know if there is one. On it changes any given week. I think Rankin was about to be that guy. Moving into the middle, he had 30 on the weekend, but you might just have to wait until Rankin comes back. Really, if you want another option.
I know JP, and he's said this all year. It's been really hot on Harry Mackay. Nothing really has changed on his performances this year. He's still averaging 95, and he's still only 450. Break even is up at the moment. 122, but so because he did have a couple poor weeks, but yeah, I definitely think after the sort of the bye period, the Blues fixture really opens up. So I wouldn't be probably jumping at it right now, but they've got the round 14 bye, and then after. Sorry, Jake Waterman's another one. Jeez, and I love what he's in his interview. He's just yeah, I've got. They asked him, well, what's the change of form? He's like, well, I've got Harley Reid kicking me the ball now, so
he's a weapon.
Absolutely flying. He's got the ability to go monster scores, and they've got a pretty good draw too. They've got obviously the Saints. So that's why I'm looking at McGovern because the Crows this week who leak points to Backman, Saints who obviously leak points, and then they've got North Melbourne twice. They've got St Kilda and North Melbourne twice. So that's why I've sort of been looking at McGovern and the best time to get him in. But yeah, from a forward point of view, I think those couple Blues players and then Jai Caldwell is somebody you've got to definitely consider, depending on how long Parrish is out, which is hearing it's 3 to 4. So, yeah, at least there'll be a period there, and the Bombers have a decent draw. Let's go down to, and then this is a good ranking one. He wants best to worst. So you've got Merritt, Myers, Caldwell, McGovern, and Rowell. And I guess that's who he's looking at trading in. So you want to do your best at trying to order those ones, mate?
I'm trying to understand the question.
So I think he's looking at rank these 1 to 5 on players he should be looking at trading in. So he's got Merritt, Myers, Caldwell, McGovern, and Rowell.
I'd say Rowell 1, McGovern 2, Merritt 3, just because I got him in and he hasn't gone very well since. And then probably Caldwell, Myers.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, really.
It is. I like it, but yeah, I'm McGovern 1. I think Rowell would be 1, but they're playing the Blues this week, which is the worst team for a midfielder to score against. But I think Rowell needs to be considered the following week or after his bye. Merritt, you could definitely have at 1 just because he's playing the Tigers. And though a few Bomber supporters have been messaging me saying this is going to the week we'll come out and win or something, I'm like, I don't like our chances. I'll be there, but it's going to be bad. And then Caldwell over Myers for sure. I think he's going to be seriously considered. Here's a left field one. Hey guys, really tempted to go. I think it's Malira with the Marvel run. Do you think he's a top? Somebody asked me about Malira the other day, and I thought he was out injured, but maybe
Is that Wayne?
it's going to be Wayne. Yeah, because surely he's injured, isn't he? So who else are they talking about?
Played this year.
Yeah, that's right. So it can't. Yeah, do you want to clear that out, Iconic? Because it can't be like we're not talking about Wayne Malira here. Because somebody asked me the exact same thing the other day.
Oh, Nazai Wanganeen Malira.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, Wanganeen Malira. That would make sense.
That's the one.
Yeah, okay. That's got to be it. Because I was like, yeah, because which I'm used to saying, calling him Wanganeen, not Malira. Yeah, okay. Well, you're the Saints boy, mate. What do you think of old Nazai or young Nazai?
Well, I've had him since round one. He's my D6 at the moment, and he's scored a ton the last 3 in a row. It's the first time he's had consecutive tons since close to the start of the year. His scoring's kind of slowed down a bit. He gets a lot of cheap ball, like kick outs, all that stuff. Yeah, he's definitely an option. Like he's scoring tons, so yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you don't mind his buy, that's fine. I prefer McGovern just because of the draw slightly, but I think in that price range, you've got to definitely consider, like we're talking about him preseason as a guy that could push definitely top 10. I just didn't know if he could push top 6, but if he keeps turning up each week and if Ross Lyon keeps playing slow ball out of the half back line, he's going to get a lot of cheap ball. The flip side is you can probably get Zach Fisher for like 120k cheaper. And as long as his body holds up, it's like any player, their body holds up, because that guy is an absolute seagull. Those who follow me on Twitter, and I know Fletcher's asked me about that, shooting me a DM. I'm more than happy with people shooting me DMs off air, guys. I don't always answer them, especially if you send me a message on a Saturday. I'm usually playing mid-year cricket. That is a thing up here, mate, in Victoria. It was a nice 15 degrees for no rain. It's the only non-rain game we've had this week. But yeah, so guys, if I don't answer on a Saturday, that's why, because I do captain our ones in our mid-year cricket. But if you send me on a Thursday or Friday, usually when I'm breaking work, I can usually fairly good at replying. So that's Swiz 26 or Supercoach Insider 100. What about your Twitter game, mate? Do you want to give yourself a plug here? Do you get on there much?
I literally was probably active for the first time on Sunday night after the round. I never commented on anything, never done anything on there. And then I end up getting an inbox off you to jump on here. So that's my extent of Twitter. I think I'm just Connor W King 12 on Twitter, and all I've got in my bio is my Supercoach name, and all I follow Supercoach people. So
I love it. Yeah, I did see that you followed JP straight off, and I was asking JP about that. Okay, so Fatty, if you're trading into Fish, you're obviously trading him as a keeper. I think the fact is, like, I looked at him last week and gone, he could still make me over 100k, which is no different to any rookie. Now I think if you're trading him in, you're kind of hoping that he will be a keeper. The great thing is he does have the dual position. So that is one thing. But yeah, you are kind of thinking that. But the forwards are so bad that why can't he be F6? Like we're just trying to scratch our heads before going, who would be one? And here's a guy who North Melbourne are going to see lots of ball. We've said it all year. That's the reason why they're bottom of the ladder. He takes kick-ins for them. And yeah, there's no reason like an F6 this year, that 95 range. Well, Fisher can go 95. Like it's just his body holding up more than anything. So yeah, Fatty, I don't think I think it's a cheap way to get an F6. All right, Jai, thoughts on Martin versus Houston?
Well, I've got both. Houston, well, I just got Houston this week and he went huge. I think he had 2 quiet weeks prior, or quieter, but he hasn't scored less than 89 this year. Martin can be a little bit up and down. I'd definitely say Houston's more consistent.
Yeah, for sure. The 3 goals massively helped the other day, and he can go big. I think I feel like sometimes Martin can be consistent. Just he puts in the odd stinker when he's hitting me lace out in row M when I'm at the game, and which he did a couple times the week before.
Gives a lot of free kicks away like that.
Yeah. I do tweet some weird stuff when I'm at the footy, and it's just because my wife doesn't like me carrying on too much when I'm with her, so I do get to Twitter, and I'm on my phone ran out of battery. I was tweeting out so much the other day about a seagull, and it was amazing. This seagull kept getting centre bounce attendances. It was quite there was one seagull in the ground, and he was getting more in the game than what Jake Lloyd normally does. So credit to that seagull. HTC, Connor, how nervous are you getting with anti-potting butters?
Oh, sorry, I don't know what that means. What's that?
I think it's because you don't have butters in your team. Am I right in saying? Or
Oh yeah, no, pretty nervous. Like he's unreal. Obviously, I've got a keeper league, and Butters is in there. So I actually had a thing that so in my first couple seasons, I'd get Butters, and his form's been pretty up and down. And I actually blacklisted him. I was like, I'm never getting him back in my team again. He's just so hit and miss, and he's just gone bang, hasn't he? So pretty nervous.
Okay, I'll go through it. Is Rel a must-have this week? No, I said before, Carlton are the hardest team to score against. As from a midfield point of view, but so I don't think he's going to really go up in value, but you're going to want him from the following week onwards. You could easily get him this week. That's not a problem, but he's going to be roughly the same price, if maybe slightly cheaper. But I think, that'll be the guy that everyone will jump on and then watch something else happen. And us who didn't jump on Zorko will be the exact same thing happen. We'll be like, oh my God, I got to jump on this guy, and we miss out on him. But Rowley, I think, you'll even with his buy coming up, you might able to get the week after. Phillips, I'd rather get him next week if you have another week at him. I don't really like bringing in rookies after 1 week. What are your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, unless they're an absolute shoe-in, I'd give it 2. There's no rush to get someone in that's only played 1 week. Their price doesn't go up. You don't have to get him in after 1 week.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was thinking Hawks had an earlier buy than what they did, but Matt, I feel for you straight away here, Matt. You've gone Libba to Parrish, and now Parrish is out, mate. You've got unfortunately going to have to trade Parrish as well because it's going to be 3 weeks plus a buy in there, so it's going to end up being 4. And this is where Supercoach gets absolutely brutal. Because you go the pod like obviously a few of us did with Libba, and then you go into another pod, and it just goes pear shape. So unfortunately, there's nothing you can do, mate. It's maybe have a look at some of your league matchups. Maybe if you can, the only good positive thing is it's best 18. So if there is a way that you could potentially navigate with best 18, and one of the probably keys with best 18 that we haven't really mentioned is you want the guys who are trying to score, who can really pop off and score high, because obviously the people are going to be covering with rookies. A rookie can put up 50, 60, 70. Not every rookie's Harley Reid, but the real big difference is if you've got a Marshall or somebody who can go 150, 160 on any given week, that's a massive plus. So try to look at some of those guys who have the high ceiling. Your boy here, Garcia, is he a dead rook? I believe he had a pretty good game in the VFL this week.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in this week. I thought it was odd that he got dropped, like whether it was maybe management or I was surprised that I can't think of his name now. Collard actually come in. And
that was a bit of a surprise.
I don't think he went too well either, so I think Hugo does come back in.
What do the Saints do with Philippou after the rumours about him wanting to stay in the seconds? Do they let him go back and get midfield time? Do they have to try to get his head right and just say, "Nah, mate, you're in the seniors"? What are your thoughts about what they should do with him?
I don't know. I think he needed to go back. Like if you just watched, he wasn't doing the things that he does well, and he was struggling up until he did get dropped. I actually hadn't seen any of that, surprisingly, but I don't know. Like that's just young blokes in the AFL, I suppose. He's just throwing a little tanny. He'll be right.
I like this one as a bit of a left field. Thoughts on Will Day as a potential guy that could get close to the top 8 mids? I know it's obviously his first couple of weeks were pretty slow just because, coming back from that injury. But he was a guy that some people were hot on in the preseason. Do you think that's the sort of pod that you should just stay away from, or what are your thoughts on, say, a Will Day type who's currently owned by I think it's only like 100 people, a couple hundred people?
It could be a difference maker, seeing as not many have him. He looked, I don't know if you watched the game on the weekend, but he was
Yeah, I
awesome.
did.
In the wet, just did it all, racked him up, clean as anything. And if Will Day can get back to his best, of course his first 2 games are going to be shaky. He's had half the season off. Definitely an option if you just want that bit of variety, like a different avenue to go down to everyone else.
My advice would be, Mitchell, depends. If you're in the same spot as Connor right now, I'd be saying definitely no. But if you're way back like me, there's no harm in taking a risk, because if Will Day pops off, no one's going to own him, and you're going to get up those rankings real quick. And if you're outside the top 10,000, 20,000, it doesn't really matter if you take risks like guys like this, because what difference? Unless you've got cash leagues to play for. But if you don't have the cash leagues or relegation leagues, like a couple of the ones that I'm in, you can kind of take risks like that and go, well, what difference if I drop another 5-10K? Who cares? But if he does go well, which we know he's got the ability to, it's a real point of difference. So no, I do like that. Best defender, I did cover this before. You can have a free look at Young and Stewart, but I do like the Gov. He's probably the best there. Connor said before, don't touch any of the Bulldogs players. And Libba apparently has been cleared from the concussion team. So Richard's role again could change in a couple of weeks. Clark and Whitfield, not bad, but I don't know if you've got anything more you want to add to that one.
No, not really. Stewart seems pretty done, I think. He's having a bit of a down year. I don't think he'll get back to his best. Gov, he looks awesome this year. Jordan Clark, any given week, he goes off. He's awesome. I've got Hayden Young in my team. And, I'd say Whitfield, Clark, they're very much the same. And Ed Richards is probably getting a bit more with Libba being out. But like you said, he's been cleared to come back this week, so...
I'll do a couple more questions, and then I've got a last question for you there, Connor, before we get into these last couple of questions. Kev, as always, thank you, mate. Who should I prioritise, Fish or Jackson? I'm going to say you're thinking probably Fish.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't mind Jackson depending on what rucks you have, just because it does give you ruck cover. But Fish, if Fish has got the ability to be F6 as well, but I don't mind it. If you need some ruck cover coming up, Jackson could do that. But Jackson all relies on if Darcy's in or out. If Darcy's out for a longer period, Jackson's great. But I know Darcy's going to come back either this week or next week. It doesn't make him as good. Darcy might come back after the buys. Still, it's only a couple more weeks, so I do like Fish. And Jared, hey, lads, looking at getting a pod midfielder. Warner looked insane. I don't know how much of the game you saw on Friday night, but is he worth it at 570, or is it worth going like a Bailey Dale to an Ed Richards? And I know what your thoughts on that straight away are going to be, but what are your thoughts on a Warner type?
Well, he's just been given a week, hasn't he? So I'd probably wait one for that for that elbow. But it's more the rookies with the Bulldogs. Bailey Dale did have that period there where he did get dropped, come back, and ended up being the best player in the comp. So I don't know what happened there, but I feel like Dale to Ed Richards is a bit of a sideways move, and Dale's going more than fine. I don't know why you'd want to get rid of him in the first place. So, Warner looks unreal. Like, wait a week and get him in.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I can't not have you on without asking you about Tasmania and the vibe down there, mate. What's it been like? And have you talked to with the boys at the footy club about this? Is it something that when they come in, do you think you'll be dropping the Saints or trying to have a couple teams there? So what's it been like, mate?
Oh, it's massive. Tassie, massive football state, obviously, been a long time coming. Everyone that I've spoken to super excited. It's just this whole stadium thing that sort of gets people all up in arms. But no, it's really exciting stuff. I think being a Saints supporter from Tasmania, it's the only acceptable reason to change teams. Obviously, Saints, no luck for quite a while, and they are probably the most frustrating team in the competition to follow. So I probably will jump onto the Tassie team, I reckon. Exciting times ahead.
Who do you think they should target as the sort of players when they come in about, is it 4 or 5 years time? Is there anybody at the moment where you think, I'd love to see them in Tasmanian colours? And outside of Harley Reid, because that's the obvious answer for about every question right now.
The obvious ones are obviously get the boys back like your Colbys and Riley, who'll be flying at that point. But probably like a Tom Green, I reckon. Love to see Tom Green down here. He's from Canberra, so I mean, very like for like. Both have not a lot going on, but that's all right. So, Tom Green. My favourite player is Isaac Rankin. So, that'd be amazing. But I think he's pretty locked down at the Crows. So, yeah.
I think you can be in kind of prime with like McKercher, Sanders, those sort of players. So it'd be exciting if they do return back to the island and play down there.
100%, for sure.
Is any of the boys at your club coming through the ranks, or like some of the junior boys thinking, "Oh, hey, hang on, this might just be perfect timing"? Or has there been like an increase of kind of numbers at the local footy? With some of these guys thinking, well, there's now a bit of more of a future down there.
Sorry, mate, but you're asking the wrong person. I haven't been to the footy club since I done my knee earlier this year.
That's fair enough.
It would be though. It'd be huge. Like just an avenue for young fellas to come through. Like I know, even when I was sort of that age coming through, like 10 years ago, you've got like your pathways through like the Tassie Mariners and then work your way up and whatnot. But this just opens up the horizons for so much more like development and everything. So it's really exciting.
No, it's good, mate, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting path down there. And I might have to catch up with you at that first game because I was at the Suns' first game. I'll probably make sure I'm at the Tassie's first game down there. I've got my membership, my jumper's on the way, so 100% supporting the boys.
How good.
It'd be good. And one last one, shout out to Nath. So Nath's actually sitting one spot behind you at the moment, so he thought he'd get on and have a bit of a look. So Nath, I have sent you a bit. I'm trying to get a hold of you, mate, so we'll have to try to get you on as well and see where things hang next week. So it'd be exciting, the fact, because I know Nath's part of our Supercoach Insider group, so he's our highest ranked person. So as much as Connor, I hope you keep going and potentially win it too. It'd be great, Nath. You and Connor both sharing the trophy together, mate. That'd be great. So yeah, guys, you can do it by add rivalry. Go click on his team. You can add it and follow Connor's team for the rest of the season. We wish you all the best, mate.
Pressure. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Not a problem, guys. As always, thank you for tuning in. Send in your DMs and your messages. Chris will do his team. Ben will do his team. And as always, continue to support Supercoach Insider. Thanks, everybody. Bye.